Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org. Guys, today we're back working on this big Golden's cane mill that I've been working on restoring now for a little while, and we just got this back from the sandblaster. I sent this off, have it sandblasted. They sandblasted it and primed it, and when it came back, they did a great job by the way, but when it came back, I noticed that once it got cleaned up and you could see things better, we've got some issues with some cracking going on in this casting. Now this casting has seen a pretty traumatic accident in the past. It had been previously repaired by welding it up with nickel rod, and what seems to be happening is that it's cracking along the places where the nickel and the cast iron come together. I see this a lot with nickel welding. My opinion is what happens when you're welding cast iron, you're melting the cast iron material, and it just creates a very brittle zone right there. And whenever it all cools down, any little thing can cause it to just break right there along that transition where they come together, which is why I like brazing better. Brazing is using bronze to kind of fill it in there. You melt it in, and it seems to just kind of adhere better to the materials around it. It tends to have a little bit of flexure in it. It flexes a little bit, and it just seems to hold a little bit better. And since you're not melting the base material, you don't run into that brittle issue. That's been my experience. So today what I think I want to do is try to do some repairs to this before we really get in here and start painting this thing up. Now I am going to have to strip off some of the primer that they put in these areas that we're going to be working. We'll probably V it out, get out the torch, and see if we can do some brazing to get it back together. So let me kind of zoom you in here, show you some of the issues we've got to deal with, and we're going to get started, see if we can improve a bad situation. So this is one of the areas where we had this repair that was done previously. And you can see right down here, this crack has propagated on out past farther than where they originally welded it up. And you can kind of see it just kind of follows right along the edge. Same thing here, it's cracked right in between these two, and kind of right up through here it's cracked. So what I want to do is come in here, just kind of V that out, clean it up a little bit, and see if we can braze it and get it to bond back together a little bit better. So I'm going to get a wire wheel. I'm going to kind of strip the primer off of this area that I'm going to work in. We'll take the grinder and we'll V it out and come in here, heat it up, and see if we can braze it in there. It's going to be a little bit challenging just because we're going to be working on a vertical surface. It's a lot easier to braze something when it's laying down flat. It's going to be wanting to kind of run downhill, but maybe we can get it done. We're going to give it a try anyway. All right, let's see what we can do. All right, let's get in here with an angle grinder and a wire wheel, and we're going to clean this up. Now I've got a grinding wheel on the angle grinder, and we'll start V'ing that out. All right, we've got this V'd out pretty well for the braze to go into. I think I've got most of everything done. One thing I do want to do is that crack goes down. I can kind of still see it down in here. It stops right about in here. I'm going to drill a hole at the end of the crack, and that's a little trick you can use. If you drill a hole sometimes at the end of that crack, it'll kind of stop that crack from spreading. If you don't do that, even if you come here and braze it, it'll just kind of continue on. So we're going to try to stop it in its tracks, and we see it's ending about right here. So I'm just going to drill a hole all the way through the casting right here. All right, we got that through. Now let's come in here and clean that out real good. And I think we're ready to start brazing. All right, I think we're about ready to roll. I've got my torch set up here. I'm going to be using a rosebud to do most of this. This is just such a large casting that's going to require a lot of heat. You know, ideally use a brazing tip when brazing, but because of the amount of heat it's going to require, I'm going to do this with a rosebud. I've done it before on larger pieces like this with pretty good success. You just have to be real careful that you don't melt your brass out as you're going. So we're going to get this thing heated up. I'm going to probably start by kind of putting heat in the whole area here, and then eventually I'm going to start over here at the end and kind of work my way around and let her go. You know, again, ideally you would heat the whole casting up, but it's so large, it's just not practical for me to do. We're going to make the best of it. Let's get her done. All right, we'll start by just putting some heat into things. All right, we are starting to see some color down in there, starting to see where our metal's turning red, which means we're approaching brazing temperatures. So I'm going to start introducing some brazing rod kind of down into that hole area there. See if we can melt a little brass down in there and start this process. I'm going to have to turn my flame down a little bit. Just blowing it too much. Welding on a vertical surface like this, and also something that has as much mass in it as this part does, can be extremely challenging, like I mentioned before. And my approach to it is you really got to keep the heat in there, which is why I'm using a rosebud. Again, ideally you use a more of a brazing tip. It's just got a lot more control. With the rosebud, you got all the force coming out of there. It's kind of blowing that bronze around and making it really difficult to go. My way of doing this, and it's really kind of difficult to see it in the video, but I try to get that layer of bronze in there that's already laid down where it's just starting to liquefy. Then I introduce that rod to it and kind of weld it until a little bead drops off in there and kind of melts into the bead below it. And right before it just kind of all blows out everywhere, I pull the torch off and it kind of solidifies. You just have to pull it off for just a quick second and then reintroduce it and kind of keep on going. You just kind of build it up layer after layer after layer, one little bit at a time, and eventually you'll get a nice braze. Now on this part, yeah, we had some brass that kind of rolled out and rolled down and didn't really stick. When we clean it up later, that'll come right off, but we got most of it in there, and while this looks messy right here, it looks a lot better once we clean it up a little bit. You'll see in a minute. Well, that took some time. That was a lot of brazing, a lot of heat, and it looks messy right now, but I think when we get in there and clean it up, it's going to look a lot better. In the meantime, I'm going to just kind of put a little blanket over this just to kind of keep some of that heat in there, and we're just going to let it cool down nice and slow. Well, we've let that cool down and came in over the wire wheel and just cleaned it up, knocked off the oxidation and the loose little pebbles of brass that had kind of rolled down on there. And all in all, I'm pretty happy with it. Trying to braze up a vertical incline like this is extremely difficult, but I think we've got a pretty good braze job going there. I think I will come in here with a flap disc and just kind of clean this up a little bit, make it look a little bit nicer, and we will probably hit it with some Bondo too, just to kind of clean it up and make it look a little bit nicer before it's all said and done. But I'm a lot more confident with that repair right there than what was here originally. I think that'll probably hold up pretty well. And I've got a very similar job I got to do on the other side of this thing, and I'm probably just going to do that one off camera. But we will get in here and clean this up and make it look a little nicer. All in all, I think that'll hold up good. And I've got we got this whole thing turned around, and this side actually I don't think is as bad as the other, but we got some issues here. Again, there's a crack running from about right here over to about right here, and it has propagated almost the entire way, even across this weld. Now on this vertical weld, got a little bit of cracking down here. I'm gonna probably just V out this side and a little bit on this side up at the top. Got a little bit over in this area that needs to be done, and on the back side here. So again, I'm gonna get the angle grinder out with just a wheel. I'm gonna V out an area that needs to be brazed up, and then we'll get over here, put the heat in here, and do the same thing on this side. And hopefully we can have it turn out looking as good as the other side. All right. And I got this ground out where I want to braze through here. Got a little bit up here and across the top, and a little bit over here on this side. So I need to drill a couple of holes at the end of my cracks, and we'll get in here and start brazing it up. I'm probably not going to show all this. You've seen it. Not a whole lot to see. Just get the brass in there. We'll bring you back when we're done. So this is where we ended up at on this side after brazing it up and then putting some body filler in there. This one had some really unevenness in it, so it's got a little bit more body filler on it than the other side did, mainly because of when it was originally welded together, they didn't do a great job of aligning the castings. I'm trying to make that not as obvious. Anyway, I think it's gonna look better than what it did. I just wiped this down with some mineral spirits. I'm gonna let that kind of dry for a little bit, and I've got some primer back there. I'm gonna go ahead and shoot this with some primer. And I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time. You know, this is a rough casting. I'm not trying to make it a perfect, but we'll look at it after we get some primer on it. May do a little touch up with some spotting putty or if I need to in a place or two, but I think it's gonna be pretty good. So we'll do that here in just a minute and bring you back and show you the results. Well, guys, that came out looking a lot better than it did. You can still tell there was a repair in there, but it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb like it did previously. And we fixed the cracks that had developed in there where that had been welded with the nickel rod. So hopefully this will give us years of improvement there. And real quickly take a look at the other side as well. If I can, I may have to flip the whole casting around, so let me do that where you can see it as well. And here's the other side. The crack, of course, ran right up through here, and I ground a lot of that out, and of course we rebrazed it, put a little putty in there, a little Bondo, whatever you want to call it, to kind of clean it up. It's again, cosmetically, it looks a heck of a lot better than it did. And mechanically, we should be a lot stronger now with that braze in there, repairing those cracks. Hopefully it won't crack any further. I sure can't promise it, but we at least got it better than it was for now. So that's where we're at. All right. Well, that's where we are on this. I have pretty much accomplished what I wanted to do down here on this, and now I feel like we can proceed forward with the rest of the restoration, kind of having that checked off the list. So my initial plan was I was going to go ahead and paint this base and get it looking good before we built up the rest of it, but after stopping and thinking about it, you know, we've got these babbitt bearing journals that are built into this casting, and a little bit later on, we're going to have to pour babbitt in here. And when I do, we're going to be heating this casting up to do that babbitt pour. And of course, that's going to mess up any paint that we put on here. So I think I'm just going to hold off painting it until we kind of get everything wrapped up. I got the babbitt bearings that go in here. Of course, there's the two pieces that clamp on here that the babbitt bearings are going to go in for the main drum on the top, and they're going to be poured directly in there. I think I want to get all that babbitt poured before we paint, and then probably after we get that done, we'll come in here and start painting it and really reassembling things from that point forward. So I am going to hold off painting for now, but we at least got the base looking a lot better and in a lot better shape than what it was. So on to the next step. I need to get my two small rollers turned over on the lathe so that we can do babbitt bearings for those. The big roller is pretty much finished. I can probably go ahead and get the uprights put back on here. We'll probably go ahead and do that, and I need to get the babbitt poured up in the top. Now for that top roller, gonna have to probably make a pouring mandrel to pour the babbitt on rather than actually pouring it on the shaft. And I'll go into why I'm going to do that later on, but it's going to be difficult for me to pour the bearings on the shaft just because of some space constraints and also sizes and dimensions that we're dealing with, etc. So that I'm going to have to make a pouring mandrel to actually pour on, and then we will put the big drum in later, and that's going to be probably coming up soon as well. So getting those other two rollers turned and starting on the babbitt bearings is probably the next thing, and then we can really start putting this thing back together. So there we go. Guys, for today, I think that's going to be a wrap. That's as far as I can kind of go with this for right now. So we're going to call this video good, and we're going to move on and continue on with this project. I need to get this one knocked out. We got more cane mills to do, as well as other projects I need to get started on out here in the shop. So we need to get this stuff checked off the list here pretty quick. With that, that's going to be a wrap. As always, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. That really helps out a lot. If you watch these videos and you're watching everything I put out and you're not subscribed, just go ahead and click that subscribe button. It will really help me out. Also, leave comments. Give me that thumbs up if you liked what you saw. Both of those things really help with the analytics over on YouTube, and helps drive getting this content out to other people so they can watch it as well. That shows your feedback with the channel, that shows your interaction with my channel, and that really helps out a lot. Big, huge thank you to those who support the site financially through Patreon and PayPal. It really is what enables me to be able to take the time to shoot these videos. As I've said many times before, anytime I turn a camera on and start filming, it doubles the amount of time that I have because of the extra work and doing the video shooting plus the editing and stuff that has to go on. And yeah, YouTube pays a little bit, but you guys kicking in that extra little bit really makes a huge difference and really enables me to be able to justify spending the time to do this. So thank you for those that do. If you're willing to help out with that, there are links for both the Patreon and PayPal links down in the description of the video, and you can help out there as well. And with that, we are going to sign off. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video.